Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AI Agents Hackathon live streams.
The AI Agents Hackathon is a free virtual hackathon running from April 8th to April 30th.
We're hosting over 20 live streams where you'll learn how to build agents using various Microsoft technologies. At the end of the 3 weeks, submit your project for a chance to win fantastic prizes.
And now over to our friends at Reactor.
Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us for the AI Agent Hack. Before we start, I do have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to review our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience.
Hey, hello everyone. I'm here. I see a lot of familiar names and more in the comments. And hey, do we have an echo? I see the comments here. Or it was in the recording, or are we still having an echo now? Someone please confirm. Echo?
No more echo.
No more echo. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So, hey, hello everyone. Happy to be here today. I don't know. I think we are 1 week away on the AI Reactor series. And today we are going to talk about .NET, Aspire, and AI agents. And I am going to build on top of what my friends Sean and Aaron did last week. So take a look on, I think it was on the 10th, that they talk about .NET agents and semantic kernel. There is a lot of content, but as I said, today is Aspire. So super cool, an AI agent, super happy to be here. I know, I should probably put this at the beginning to introduce myself. So, hey, my name is Bruno. I'm part of the Cloud Advocate teams, focus on .NET, AI, and fun things. Happy to chat with everyone later on Discord or on LinkedIn or whatever. And I know that I need to talk about, at the beginning, about the agenda of what are we going to do today. But I didn't have an agenda slide, but let me tell you what we are going to do. I'm going to do a quick overview of what are agents right now. Super quick. Then, if you know me, I am going to jump to the demo. I'm going to show an agent, again, a quick overview of Aspire, quick demo of Aspire, and then at the end, let's put everything all together. I am taking a look at the comments right now. I see an example, my friend Ravi here, that, hey, echoing recording and more. And I think thanks from Pamela Shows and the team behind. I am going to take a look at the comments right now. If I see a comment and you have a question online, I'm happy to try to answer the questions on real time. That said, let's start here. What is an agent? And this is all about agent. These 20 plus days of the hacks, we are going to talk about agent, but an agent is a piece of code that basically when they have a goal, they will figure out how to achieve that goal. And the cool part about the agents per se is that the agents are going to reason on how to solve this problem, this goal that they have to do. They're also going to work under a specific context, which is super important, because when we start to work with different agents, each one of them are going to have different contexts to work, and also they have the capability to do actions. And these actions are probably run queries against something like run queries against a database, on a third-party API, perform an online search, and more. What we have when we do this is basically an amazing idea, an amazing concept that is an agent. And in Azure, we have what we have right now, one service to support agents. I am going to use this a little today, which is Azure AI Agent. And it has everything that you know and can expect with basically in Azure. It's enterprise ready, scalable, supporting regions. You can connect literally with everything that we have in Azure. You can use your own model because you can select the model you want to do there. So it's super flexible. And you can also use other. I know that we have sessions where we are not going to talk about Azure AI agents, so you can use other agents. But the whole idea here that I really like is that on top of Azure AI agents example, we have libraries or frameworks or tools, put your name here, that really help us developers to do this in a fast, secure, and literally it's fun. It's a fun way. One of these libraries that I really like, I've been a fan for a long time, is Semantic Kernel. So, hey, cool question here. So Azure AI agent under Azure AI Foundry? Yes. AI Foundry for us is basically the main door to everything AI related in Azure. So yes, agents can be found on Foundry, and we are going to take a look at this, a couple of them. So going back, Semantic Kernel is super amazing middleware library, orchestration library, and more. It's been around for, I can't remember it, but it's longer than a year, probably longer than a year and a half or 2 years since the first version, available in Python, Java, and .NET. And what I really like about Semantic Kernel is that we built this in Microsoft, basically focused for enterprise developers. So when we are doing enterprise apps, Semantic Kernel is probably the go-to choice for doing this. And if you're doing C# also, Extensions AI, Semantic Kernel, it's an amazing tool to do this. But Semantic Kernel is more. It's not just about talking initially with models. We can talk with large language models, in example, for the APIs of OpenAI, or models that we have in Azure OpenAI, or in the Foundry catalog and more, or Google Gemini, Bedrock from Amazon and more. You can even use Semantic Kernel to talk with local models that you can run in Ollama, or local physical models that you have with Donix, in example. You have also the chance to use Semantic Kernel that we are going to use today to talk with agents services like Azure AI Agent, AutoGen, and more. And what I really like about Semantic Kernel is that it's fully extensible. Once you know how to work with Semantic Kernel, it's easy to basically start to add new functionality, because it's not just talking with large language model, using large language models. You also have the chance, in example, to work with vector databases. And there are implementations for the kernel memory where you can do in-memory vector databases, or you can talk with Quadrant, or with ChromaDB, or Azure AI Search, and more. You can feel that I really like Semantic Kernel. And of course, on top of that, what we have is a lot of standards where we can have telemetry, we can have information filters, we can define the prompts in YAML files or externally. So we can do a lot of things. So that this is kind of a perfect library to use when we are doing agents. And the whole idea today is that let's see how an AI agent works. And this is very tied to an Azure AI agent, but it's probably very similar to the other scenarios that we can see and we are going to see in the whole month of sessions. So first of all, this is the 5 steps that we have here. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Because this is how I do numbers. I can't even do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I don't know. Sorry for the mistake. But here, in example, step 1, let's create an agent. This is basically create an agent definition. Then when you have the agent, and when you create an agent, you choose your large language model, you choose the tools that the agent is going to use, and more, you can start to create conversations, we call this a thread. But kind of we start the conversation with an agent, and then we can run that conversation. It's a very step-by-step process. When the agent is working, remember these agents are supposed to be autonomous or semi-autonomous. We can check the status, that is working, not working, working, not working, and then we can get info about, hey, what is doing, which are the outputs, what does the agent do, and more, depending on how we configure the agent. So an example of this is something that I think they show this already 3, 4, 5 times in the last week, is the Contoso sales agent. This is one of the samples that we have here, where we have an agent that basically is specialized to do sales analysis for Contoso. It's going to help the users with sales data and more. The cool part about this is that we can choose the model that we want to use. As I said, GPT models, in example, for OpenAI, or a Llama model, Mistral, Cohere, and more. I don't know if GPT-4.1 is there, but it should be there as one of the models that we can use. Then we can choose if if the agent is going to be connected to data. Oh, Cecil, I am going to save this one for the end, but this is an amazing question about agent-to-agent support. So we are going to also connect the agent with data if we want, AI Search, Fabric, and more. And then we have also the chance to provide it to the agent's capabilities in terms of tools. They can do file search, they can run Python code, call external search online with Bing, and more. They can do a lot of things. So that's an idea of an agent. So when we have this as an agent, we can start a new conversation, a new thread, and a user can ask, hey, tell me the total sales by region. The agent, because it has the capability, is going to talk to a database, run a SQL query, get the info, create a user-friendly message, and say, hey, here is the sales, Europe, America, whatever, that's it. And the user can say, okay, now show me this as a pie chart. And the agent, because it also have the capabilities to do code interpreter and run Python code, is going to use Python to generate a super amazing small chart like this. So we can do this with agents, and this is fine. This is nice. And as I said, this is a 5 minutes overview of agent at the beginning. But when we start to get really, really interesting things is when we start to have scenarios where we have agents with different capabilities and different focus and domains and specialities that they are going to talk between each other. So in this demo, the Contoso Creative Writer, what we have is basically a scenario where the user can basically provide a general context, a general question, a general domain or ask or whatever to a multi-agent scenario. And the multi-agent, we have 4 agents here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, numbers are working fine. So we have a researcher. The researcher has a capability that can run a large language model. I think we are running 4o mini here, GPT-4o mini, but it's also had the chance to search in Bing. It's going to search online. So it's going to, if we ask something, it can go and research online. We have a product agent that can access to an internal database of products. So the researcher is going to search online, the product can search internally. We have a writer here. When we ask them to write something based on the info that the researcher and the products provide, the writer is going to write the story. And then we have an editor that is going to validate the writer's story, and they have the editor agent have a set of specific rules. So it's going to provide feedback to the writer. So make it longer, make it shorter, do not use emojis or whatever. And then it's going to give us the thumbs ups or thumbs down. So this is kind of a cool scenario that it's, as far as I know, it's in Python because the original version was in Python. And then I have my friend Ricardo, who basically worked and created this for C#. The links are all in the resources. And what we have here is what we just seen is we have all of the backend agents with the front end, which is a React application, and they are differently connected with they have different capabilities. It's kind of nice, kind of cool. And then you can basically, if you want to use this, there is also a couple of notebooks here that you can run to test each one of the agents and more. You can deploy this ACD app directly here, fork the repo, clone it, and more. And then you are going to have, this is the agent up and running. What we have here is the instruction part. Let me copy a sample instruction, copy this. And when we run this, remember, we are giving instructions here to the researcher, then that is going to talk with the products, is going to talk also to the writer and more. So when we start, if my Azure is working, because we are literally going to have, it's still working. I'm literally moving stuff away from my Azure subscription. We are going to see that, okay, so the researcher found some camping trends in 2024. This is new for me, the nostalgia-driven camping. So this is going basically bare naked on the whatever, I don't know. No car camping, affordable glamping, and more. Okay, so the researcher find a couple of things, cool. Oh, it's running fast. Let's scroll later here. The marketing agent didn't find any products here related to this. And the writer agent create a story. Let's find the story. This is the first feedback that the editor provide here. We say, hey, the introductor is engaging, but it can be slightly improved, and subheadings and more. So the writer writes again. And then at some moment here, if we are fine, we have this is a check, writing with the mouse. So we have the thumbs ups, and it's up and running. So, hey, this is an example working here, running in Azure. We have Aspire here. I'm going to show Aspire later, but this is I like an example about how it works with this. And we have Brainy Dubs here asking, does React frontend work well with C# backend? Yes, this is literally this application. This is a frontend application. Let me, it's part of the, let me ask you to share the link. Oh, I can share it here. I'm a moderator. So there it is, the link in the comments. But yes, you can see here that we have the front end somewhere here, can't remember, which is the React application, and this is up and running with this. And it works great. It was really work very, very well. So the whole idea that we have now when we see an agent, a multi-agent scenario working is that, hey, we can do this. But how does Aspire fit here? So let's go back a little and let's talk a little about .NET. And again, this should be super fast because in 10 minutes, I want to start to code something. If you know me, I like to do light coding. So .NET, huge ecosystem to do cloud, mobile, gaming, IoT, AI. We can do a lot of things with .NET using a lot of tools, Visual Studio, Code, JetBrains, IDEs, in Windows, Linux. Okay, so we have a lot of things that we can do with .NET. It's an amazing platform. However, when we start to do applications that are focused on the cloud native application, we have a lot of libraries and support to do applications that can really scale well, can really have an amazing traces and more. But in the .NET world, there are kind of problems where we find, and I think it's probably similar in other scenarios. People can tell me if I'm right or not. So the getting started is easy sometimes because you know how to do a couple of hello worlds and tutorial, but when things are going to start to get complex, we face a lot of challenge. So, okay, how do I scale this? How do I do this when I have 25 microservices talking between each other? I have 5 agents here. How I know when my agents are talking between each other? What is happening here? So things are getting to get complex here, and this is where Aspire try to solve things. And when I say try, I am very polite, because if I have to be honest here, it solves a lot of things. It's really take off my hands, of the developer hands, a lot of issues. Like in example, the service discovery. If you have a solution and there are different endpoints here and there, and you need to coordinate how they talk between each other, Aspire have a very easy way to do this. And by the way, it uses libraries that we have in .NET for a long time, but they are kind of used in a good way with a lot of best practices, so we literally move away from that. The same from deployment, integration, orchestrations, and more. And as I said, I want to show how this works. So in order to show this, what I am going to show is a very simple front-end, back-end, and SQLite storage application that is a small e-commerce that has a front-end in Blazor, a back-end with minimal APIs, and then we have a storage. And let's take a look at the current state and the Aspire and the pre-Aspire and the post-Aspire. So what I have here, going back to questions. So before starting with Aspire, so Ravi asked, can the C# code for Semantic Kernel run in .NET Polyglot? Yes, it can run in .NET Polyglots, and the ones that we have here in the Creative Writer are in C# there. And I am very good. I am a fan of notebooks here, but because I use them a lot in my Python days when I do a lot of machine learning. But I don't think that the .NET community is very fun. They really like notebooks. If people really like C# notebooks, we are happy to start to provide samples in notebook. We didn't get a lot of traction there, so we went back. But people like notebooks. Let me know, and we are going to do an extra effort and also provide notebooks for testing, for learning, and more. Going back to eShop a little, what I talked before, and let me put myself here so it's easier to read. So we have here 2 web applications, the API backend, the front end, and we have here a couple of models to represent the data entities and the search entities. Nothing fancy here. The data entities is just the product where we have an ID, a name, and more. And the search entities is basically when we do a search, we are going to have a string response, a list of products, and the time that performed the entity. And by the way, the time is here. You don't need the time, but I added here to explain Aspire. So in the .NET world, when we run this and the products here have a couple of endpoints where we can do APIs to get a list of products, to get products by ID and more. So if we want to run this, what we can usually do is we can start an instance of the backend. We see here that the backend is working and the default output here is basically a JSON with the product. So we have here the backend working. If I refresh this, I will have another SQL here. So let me put this one here and here. And if I start to refresh the request, we can see how it works. And if I want to use the front end, I need to go here to my solution. I can do this, by the way, in Visual Studio Code from the console, but I can start in the debug mode another instance in this scenario from the front end. And when I check the product, it's calling the backend. We can see here we have the list of outdoor products, and you can even do search, like in example, let's search for outdoor, and it's going to search all of the products that have outdoor in their name. If I search here for something for rainy days, I am not going to have anything because I don't have anything here. So it's kind of nice, but I have my logs here. I have 2 console applications running here, front end, back end, 2 browser. It's kind of a messy scenario. So how is the Aspire approach to this? The Aspire approach to this is basically we will have the same application. We will have the product and the store, and we have here the entities that we use, and then we have a host. And the host is the Aspire host is the one that is going to basically orchestrate everything, connect everything that we have here, and do more. And then we also have a service default, which is kind of a supporting project that is going to be used in all of the Aspire, in all of the projects that are part of the Pi solution, that is going to manage the traceability, the try-catch exceptions, and more. So it's going to basically support everything. And the host is the nice part here, because the host is going to basically define what we want to do. And this is what we want here. We want to create, this is a host, we want to create a SQL database. So we just say to the builder, part of any builder application that we have here, create a SQL server. And we can specify here with the data volume, with the lifetime, it's going to add a database. We rely a lot in Docker or Podman or any container supporting tool that we have here because it uses this. But hey, we are going to define, I need a database, storage database, so I can add a SQL server, or I can add, I don't know, a Postgres, whatever you want to add, we can add it here. Then I'm going to add my backend here, which is going to have a builder add project to my real C# project here, and it's going to have a reference here with the database. And then I am going to add my front end, which is going to be the Blazor front end, that is going to have a reference to the product. What I see here in 15 lines of code is basically what we have here in this slide. We have the front end, we have calling the backend, and that is calling the SQL server. So I define this using C# here. And then I can even define more here, more stuff here, because if I run this in production in Azure, I want Aspire to generate the script to basically deploy my model using a GPT-4o mini. I am going to, because we are going to do some AI here, I want to deploy also an embedding model. So I'm going to say, hey, add these 2 models that I want to add here in a resource that is going to be called AO Azure OpenAI. And then I am going to add also application insights to have traceability. And I am going to add to my product and to my store the reference. So the product is going to use OpenAI and App Insights, and store is going to also use App Insights. So we have everything here. But when we run this, we have something cool here, because let me run the Aspire version. So this is literally the same solution that we ran before, that we ran first the backend, then the front end, and more. But now when I run this, what I am going to have, depending on which, okay, there it is, in the browser, I am going to have these resources. And by the way, this is still Aspire 9.1. I am going to show you something fun in the 9.2. And I see here that I have my products running. So I can open my products. I have here my JSON with the products here. I have here my store. I have here my, if I open Docker here, I have my SQL database, basically started 5 seconds ago. I tested this, so I have everything working here. And if I go to my, let's open the store. I'm going to put the store here. I can even go here to the products. You can see here I have the logs from the products, and if I go to the store, if I go to the store, let me minimize this a little, and I go for the products, and I see the products, you can see how it's the console running in the back. So I have my console, I can do outdoor here, and I search, and I see my outdoor products here. I have traces here. So this is out of the box. I can see everything happening in the store, in products, and here in the structure mode, or even here in the trace mode, where I can see that the front end call the backend, call the SQL database to get a list of products. And if I do something like this, let's do something for rainy days, and we don't have any results. But when I do semantic search here, what it's going to do is going to use these models, GPT-4o mini, text embeddings, and more. It's going to create a vector database in memory with the products that I want, and it's going to perform the search. So if I go back here to the search, we are going to see this one here, where the first time, and this is just for demo purposes, the first time that we ask a semantic search, we are going to see how we are calling here, one of the embeddings models that we have here. Yes, this is the text embeddings, ADA02. And then we have the call a couple of times. And then we have the call to the GPT-4o mini. And because we are using a lot of Aspire out-of-the-box capabilities in terms of logging and more, we can even see here the model that we are using, the response, how many tokens we use for input or output, 52 and 100. We have tons of info. If I go back here and I do the search again, and because we are something to light at night in Spanish, remember, hablo español, speak Spanish, so we have everything working in Spanish here. And because we already have the products in memory, we see here that we have the store calling products here. So it's kind of nice. And we see the nice start here in the front end, call the back end, basically do a semantic search. When I have the answer for the semantic search, the vector in memory database, I prepare the output and I show back the output here, which is this nice message. Yes, to light at night in camping, yada, yada, yada. So we have all of these things out of the box in Aspire. And hey, in Aspire, and this is the 9.1 version. If I go here and change to 9.2, which we are going to see later, and I think, okay, I need to update a couple of things here, but I will see more things. But this is what we can get with Aspire. So with Aspire, what we did is basically, we start with this application, which is the front end, the back end, and a store, and we added Aspire to basically do the full orchestration of what we have there. We have a dashboard where we can do traces and logging and more. We have also the storage, and we use Semantic Kernel to talk with the GPT-4o mini and ADA02 for do the embeddings, to do a lot of things. And this is the ABC of what we have, because at this moment, we can go back here to the Contoso Creative Writer and start to take a look, okay, if this is working with Aspire, what else I can see in Aspire? So let's go back to the Creative Writer that we have here, and this is the Aspire dashboard that we have. So we have the back end and the front end. But if I go to see the traces, I can see here in this one, the one that we just ran, that a lot happened here. I can start to see how we search one of the agents, search internally to start to see if we can get an index of clients, and we are using a vector search. Remember that we have a research agent that searches the cloud. We have another agent that search internally. So this seems to be the one, and there is an error here. This is why we didn't have any products for the camping. I can check off the error. We can go into do this here. Then we can have the researcher, and we can take a look here at the researcher. The researcher, each one of these posts, and gets, are online search that Bing Search is doing, because the researcher is doing the work to research about camping products. Then we have marketing here. Remember that one of the agents was the marketing one, trying to start to see what we have. We can see how it's going to check here. The error at the beginning is the one that didn't probably broke this. When we have also here the writer agent that did the first draft of what we have, Then we have the editor, didn't like it, go back to the writer. We have the full traceability here. And out of the box, we also have here, if I go to the backend in example, I can start to see semantic kernel in example, function invocation. Oh, we don't have any function, so let's this tokens completion, no tokens prompt, tokens total. And let me run mine, it's better. But we also have a lot of metrics out of the box that we can export and we can have there. Kim, while I am running this, the SPI is only for developer. So this is this one, what you see there, this is localhost. This is my Aspire dashboard running locally in my machine. Let me run this and make a query. So we have some data. So this is running locally, but this one, it's running on Azure. It's deployed to Azure in a container apps and it's running there. So we can have this. When you deploy an application with Aspire, it automatically have this. So if I go back to my demo here and I go back to Aspire and metrics, and let me go to the product side, I can see these metrics that I don't have enabled in the creative writer, when I can see the operation durations in, I think it is in seconds, and I can see here the P50, the P90, and the P99, and then I have the token usage that I have here. We have a lot of features out of the box in Aspire that you can use, and I really like these metrics. And because we just talked about this, if you are wondering, okay, how do I deploy this? So when you have an Aspire solution like this, an Aspire solution like this. So Aspire is going to, let me delete this, is going to help you generate the bicep files that you need to do this. So let me do something like this. Full path, project folder. So what I am going to do here, I am going to go to the path of the Aspire project, where I have here, and I'm going to do ACD infra pin. And this command is going to generate, I take a look here, we don't have any file here. It's going to generate an infra folder, a folder named infra, with all of the information of the bicep file that I need. So, and yes, it's in alpha stage, we are testing this, it's working, but it literally gives me, I will say 95% of my deployment, of my deploy bicep files here. Let's take a look here. We have infra folder, we have a main bicep, we have a resources bicep, we have the APP insights bicep files, they have the OpenAI bicep file. So everything is here. If I open this, we are going to see that we have the SQL password, secure parameters, and more. If I open the OpenAI, we will see that it's creating these models, GPT-4o mini, OpenAI with this capability. So, hey, we have a lot of, if I change an example to show you that this is real, if I say, oh, I don't know, let's assume that GPT-4.1, this is the info that we need. So I'm going to change my C# program folder to do this. And if I go back here, no, not this one, sorry. If I go here and I do again this, it's going to say, hey, you have a set of files. Do you want to override the files? Yes, override with the notifications, If I go here and go to the OpenAI, I will see that the OpenAI resource new name is GPT-4.1, and it's going to try to create, oh, I need to change the name somewhere there in the, probably here in programs, the name is still GPT-4o mini, but hey, I can create all of my deployment stuff here that I need to use. Okay, so Brain Dabs asking what kind of file is bicep. So bicep is a type of file that we have to deploy to Azure. This is basically something that I can use, and I can do an ACD app here. And when I do an ACD app, it's going to pick up my bicep file, it's going to pick up all of the solutions that I have there, and it's going to try to deploy everything to Azure. But deploy is going to be a full different conversation if we want to talk today. Okay, so let's switch gears a little. How do we, okay, so this is kind of Aspire, and we see an Aspire agent solution running. How we can connect this? What do we have here to work with this? So first of all, what we have is this idea, and this is AI Foundry, of agents. Remember that we talked of agent at the beginning. So I have here a set of agents, like these Warhammer agents. This is if I create a new project in AI Foundry and I start to go to my playgrounds, I will see here that I can see my playgrounds and I have my agent playgrounds. I can play with my agents, or I can go here and create agents. And create agents, as we saw at the beginning, we only need basically a model that we want to use, and then if we want to connect the agents with an external capability. So this agent that I create is going to use GPT-4o Mini, have some instructions. Remember, we need to define what is the agent going to do, and is connected to an Azure AI Search instance. This model, the online research, use a GPT-4o Mini, a GPT-4o model, has different instruction and is connected to a search instance. And I have here a sender agent that is connected to an API that allows to send emails. I have here an expenses agent that is going to analyze expense information and more. So, hey, super. We can create agents. I can create a new agent. And when I create an agent, the only thing that I need to do is define the name, the deployment, and I can start to connect with external data sources like Fabric, Search, Files, or TripAdvisor, or more, or to Actions, where I can even connect these to run Python code interpreter, any Open API 3 tool that we have here, or connect to functions and Azure functions and more. So how we can run this with .NET? So what I have here is probably the crappiest application ever that you are going to see. That is a console application that runs a GPT-4o Mini that I have in the cloud, in Azure AI, and I have a deployment and key, and I'm going to create a kernel. This is the ABC. Go back to the videos from Semantic Kernel. They explain everything there. And I'm going to create an agent, and I'm going to add a plugin, kind of a tool here, which is a plugin factory. And then I'm going to ask a question. Who is Bruno Capuano? And then what we have here in the search plugin, this is the one. This one is going to connect to my agents that I have in the cloud. And by the way, we can do this with Semantic Kernel or with the Azure AI SDK, but Semantic Kernel, I like it because you are going to see in the next demo, it allows you to do more. And when I have this sample demo is have an agent ID that we can use. I have hard code here, the agent, but it's going to connect to the client, it's going to connect to Azure, it's going to, if the agent is not existing, it's going to create a new one or get the agent, and then remember the ABC, create a thread, run the thread, and wait for the response. So it's going to do this, and we are going to get the content here. And by the way, let's put a stop here. And just to remember what we are going to do, we are going to use first the expenses agent to ask the question, who is Bruno Capuano? So when we run this, of course, the agent is a GPT-4o Mini model connected to a set of, I think there are a couple of CS Excel files with expense and sales data. So the agent is not going to know what is happening here. So it's going to say, who is Bruno Capuano? I literally don't know. Let me copy this. So it's running in the back. So it's kind of cool, happening this and that. And we are going to get to a point that when we have the results from the agent, we can get all of the conversation, all of the steps, everything that the agent did in the back. We can filter that to see what we have. So here we have, okay, let me check one thing here very quickly. Manage user secrets, so it should be fine. Okay, sorry about that. I need to re-enter my credentials. This is live demos happening. Okay, hey, if you want to see what is happening, literally, I need to sign again. This is what's happening when you have live demos. I am logging to my account because this is the moment that it need to stop working. So, okay, one more time. There it is. Should be working fine now. Let's run this again. And if I have my applications, okay, so I don't have the assistant ID, so hey, that's fine, it's connected. Let's go here and find the writer, the expenses agent, this one. And let's use this expenses agent here. So let's run this again. And remember, it's going to connect to the question, to the agent. It's going to try to answer this question. If I go back to the expenses agent and I try to do this in the playground, and I ask this question, it's going to take some time. But if I get here and I start to, okay, we have the responses, we have the text item and more. So this is the response that I have here, which said, hey, I found some information about expense claim. There wasn't specific mentions from Bruno in the document. Makes sense. And here, the agent in the cloud say basically the same. There is no information on Bruno in the updated document, every penny for every time and more. What is cool here is that if I switch, in example, to the online research agent, to this one, copy, and let's run this with the online agent, which is this one, and I run again, this is going to perform a search in Bing. So after a couple of seconds, I didn't clean the console, but hey, Bruno Capono knows, and Bruno is a principal cloud advocate at Microsoft. It gets information. It gives me also the sources here. So I have here my MVP profile from the Microsoft developer. I have other stuff. So hey, this is kind of cool. I am switching agents and I am having different answers. If I use the Warhammer agent, and you are probably going to ask, okay, what is Warhammer? So in order to do this, I created a super ugly story about Warhammer with myself there. Warhammer is a fictional, super nice stories that you can do online. But hey, I create something here just to test, added to AI Foundry here. I have in my indexes here. So if I use this and I ask to this agent about this, what I am going to have is basically an answer for a different agent that is going to say something like, hey, Bruno is part of a story of a, there it is. So Bruno is part of a fictional stories in a humorous and satirical narrative title, yada, yada, yada. So just changing the name of the agent, I can start to get different answers, the different solution. Each agent know how to search and do different things. And this is kind of cool because even if the code is kind of crappy, and by the way, I'll share this later, it's very simple to follow. So how we can use this? This is the final question. So how we can use this? So let's do the same eShop scenario that we had before, but instead of showing, let me put myself here, instead of using agents, instead of using a store with products and more, let me show you what we have here. So we have the eShop Aspire host that is going to do a little more than before. So first, we are going to create a SQL database. We are going to create a backend. And then we are going to create an agent that is going to be an online researcher that is going to be connected to the online agent that we saw. We are going to create an eShop MCP server because everybody's doing MCP. So this is going to be an MCP server that have connection to talk with the products and have connection to talk with the online researcher agent. And then we have the store that is going to be connected to the front end, is going to be connected to the product and to the MCP server. So with all of this, and this is running with Aspire 9.2, okay, it's going to run. We are going to have in the latest version of Aspire also the chance to have a super cool graph with the dependencies. So we are going to know which are the different, this is the graph. So we are going to have all of the services here, all of the resources, but I can see a graph here. Wow, spinning. Let me put the store on top and let me put the store here at the side. So what we are going to have here is the store that can talk with the MCP server, which is a server of tools, or talk directly to the product. The product is going to talk to the database. And in the MCP, we are going to have tools to find products or to search online. Let's give it a try to see how it works. Literally the same application. This is literally the same application where I can see the list of products. And yes, the agent doesn't know me, but I know the agent. And it should be, I should probably add a matrix or whatever agent joke here. But there are so many things that I want to show that we are not going to have time. But yes, this is the moment for a joke here. But hey, let's do this. Let's do this. So we can see here, I can see that in this scenario, I also displaying the set of tools that I have here available from the MCP server. The tools are online search, get a joke, search products, or get weather for a city. If I go here to the implementation of the servers, in the tools section, we are going to see how we have all of these tools: jokes, online research, products, and weather tool. Let's open the jokes in example. And by the way, it's not writing a joke. It's basically a joke tool that have some decorations, standard C# part, and is going to, when you ask a topic to write a joke, is going to say, hey, I don't do jokes about that. The weather one is going to generate some random data about the location, random temperature, and then sunny or rainy, weather, wind speed, and more. I'm going to return this. The online research is going to get the researcher service and is going to call the service because it knows how to call the service. Remember, Aspire make this very, very easy. And the product one, the product search, is going to call the product service and get the semantic search product. So when I run this in example and we ask, how is the weather in Toronto? And we ask this question without doing anything. We don't find any tool. But if we use the MCP server is going to call one of the tools and is going to say, hey, the weather in Toronto is 21. And if I take a look at the function, okay, it's called the weather tool. Because we have tons of traceability here and we are not going to have time to do everything here, we can see the standard one where we can see, okay, the store, the front end, made a local inference to see which is the tool that they need to use. It's a standard MCP client, then call the post, the MCP server that internally call the GPT-4o mini to make the results, to display the results in a fun, in a nice way. I can still do the something for rainy days using the semantic search standard that we did before. And hey, we have here, if it's rain, you can use any of these 3 products here. If we go to the traces, we are going to see, remember, first time, do a lot of inserts, create the product in memory, and we have all of the calls here, which is everything that we want and have. And if I do this using MCP server, story is going to be a little different because it's going to call a tool, the tool that knows how to do a search of product, and is going to give, oh, I lost some formatting here with the images. And it's going to show the products. I can go here to the structured traces, and I can even see the full response here that we have there in Markdown and show in Markdown. And this is why I need to fix the image location. Product 1, product 3, product 4, and more. It all makes sense so far, and I can even do this, I don't know, I have something here, like an example. Search online for the top 3 trending products in camping. So if I call this, it's going to perform a search online using the search and the agent of search, and somewhere here, when it finishes, it's going to say, hey, I called the server, this is the trending online, I don't show any products because the search online only displays the search, camping trend, backpack, and more. I know that it is called the online search to response that called the agent. And if I go here to the log, to the traces, let's do this easy to the researcher, I can see here, let's zoom out a little, there it is. I can see here how the store make the call, did a couple of calls, and somewhere here, the researcher start to call and make one call. And this is one of the machine learning subscription where we are doing the whole research. And I have an error here. It seems they have some limits that disconnect me after a couple of retries. But I can even get here the response where I have the emojis, the markdown, and more. And hey, it's kind of nice because I can easily connect this to my scenario where my store, the store call call the server that called the online researcher and then give back and put here, or maybe the server is going to call the product, that's going to call the database and more. I can start to have full traceability here. And by the way, I can even add this because this is an MCP server. I can even add this to Visual Studio Code and use it there. It's one of the tools that we have and more. So it's kind of easy if you want to add this. If you want to add agents, it's kind of easy to also implement these agents this is the agent, by the way, with the endpoint here and the online research. It's kind of easy to call the online agents that we have in Azure. Again, we need the connection string, tenant ID, and more, and then run this isolated as part of an Aspire project, in example, and Aspire is going to handle for us everything that we need there in terms of connection and more. And by the way, I haven't deployed this, but if I need to deploy this, I need to do literally an ACP app, an ACD infra thing, and ACD app, and it's going to deploy everything to Azure, and it's going to be up and running there using the type of security that we want to do and more. So we are getting to the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes here. I want to save the last 10 minutes to do this. This is also why we have the AI Foundry, Creative Writer here using this, because we can have the full traceability of the resources plus full traceability of the console with everything that's happened here and more, and we have the traces. Give it a try. The repo is there. The repo is also very prepared to do a lot of things. This is the .NET version. If you are friends with Pamela, we have also here the Python version, which I think Marlene is the one who cleaned it, and it works amazing today and more. So this is literally the same scenario in Python. This one is C# plus Aspire. And hey, if you want to know more, my only last 2 cents here is, okay, if you want to take a look at the code, everything that we did today, this is the link that we have, which is the Generative AI for Beginners. We are putting all of our eShop demo, the eShop little demo that you see. We have the same demo running with ChromaDB, with vector databases, and more. So we have everything there, and we're putting everything together so you can have one repo with all of the demos, with Chroma, Azure AI Search, MCP servers, MCP clients, and more. Is going to be released here. And I think that's it. I want to take a look at the comments right now. I don't know, Pamela, if I miss one of the important comments. Let me see if we have any star comments and more. And hey, time to get back to get some feedback. So Carl is asking, mention a video from last week on the channel. Hey, the sessions that I suggest people to see for this from last week, and I know that Pamela is going to kill me because I should have this file ready to open, are these two. Are the Semantic Kernel from Sean and the .NET agents from Aaron. He talked about how you can do, basically, he's playing more in details how you can create an Azure AI agent and run it with .NET. If I am not missing anything here, I have the link somewhere here. Let me find it. Yes, there it is. So let me copy this here. So in the main page where you have all of the sessions, this is the two that I will advise you to watch from next week. So build your code with Azure AI Agent Service in .NET from Aaron, and Sean did the Python one with Semantic Kernel. But Semantic Kernel, the core concept, this is a Python demo, this is a Python session, but the core concept are the same. So these two are basically the ones that I recommend to watch in order to get a common sense knowledge, a common sense idea of what we talked today. Let me take a look at other questions here. Okay, we talk about this, about local development. Let me see if I find any other question. Yes, AR Foundry, and Echo. So, hey, I don't see any other questions. I am going to go back to the last slide. And as I said, invite everyone to take a look at the GenAI, Generative AI for Beginners.net version. I can't remember. We put a very long name for the repo. It's a very long name, but I have a lot of .NET Aspire and Agents demo right now. And hey, register. I think everybody, and Pamela is going to kill me because I always say this in the wrong way. You have until the 30th to register your team for the hackathon. Don't wait until the 30, 12, the last minute of the last day. Do it before. But hey, you still have 15 days to learn. We have tons of sessions coming. And hey, super happy to be here. Hey, cool question here. So we can infer semantic kernel, just enable Beiro agent to talk to each other? Yes. So I don't have time to show it here, but I can literally record and post it somewhere here. So I have a demo where you have agents or using Azure AI Foundry and Bedrock that they can talk between each other. They are also part of the semantic kernel samples, so they will know how to do ABCs, and it's very, very interesting. But it was kind of a very loosey for today. But take a look at the semantic kernel samples. You can have samples there where they talk with Azure AI agents, AutoGen, and Bedrock, in example. Yes, the thread part is the tricky one when an agent talks to the other. But semantic kernel, you have kind of a single trace ID that can help you to have the full conversation there for this. So you can do it. Aspire also make it easier because if you register that specific trace as part of the Aspire observer, the part with Aspire trace, the logs, you can literally have the log of a conversation there, which is kind of very nice to have. No, we can't use the OpenAI SDK with Azure AI agents. No, we can't. We need to use or semantic kernel or the Azure AI agent SDK for C#. I don't know if that's the official name, but we have an SDK for C#. But as far as I know, we can't do this. That said, semantic kernel is going to allow you to use assistants from OpenAI with agents for Azure if you want. And that's a very cool scenario to test. Oh, hey, we have a C# session from semantic kernel. That's the place where you can ask all of these questions. Probably, I don't know how deep are they going to do with this, but hey, in that one, it's going to happen a lot here. Yes, the creative writer for me is one of the amazing. When I don't remember who created the first one in Python, but that's the moment that the agent's idea, the multi-agent idea clicks in my head. You have a researcher, you have a marketing people, writer, an editor. They all talk between each other. The editor gives feedback to the writer and more. That's a great, great sample of what you can do with the multi-agent scenario. We are building other scenarios. We have tons of other demos, but the creative writer is one, I don't know, I really, really, really like it. And this is the semantic kernel and C# session that is going to happen in a couple of days. Let me see, when is this? And again, this is 14, this is today. I should probably do some, no. One. Cosmos in C#, this is going to happen tomorrow. And we may have one more. Oh, SignalR in this one with gRPC. Oh, this is cool. So maybe the one for tomorrow is going to also talk about this. Hey, that's cool. And yes, we have a best of C#, and I'm super proud. I'm not going to say it now, but I'm super proud the ideas of the C# teams in the previous hackathon. So, hey, let's go for the win. And hey, I know we are on time. I don't want to upset the other speakers, the reactor time and more. Once again, thank you very much. Have a great day. And oh, yes, Cecil, what is the difference between assistant and agents? Pamela is super polite. It's super, you can see that she knows the topic. I will say it's literally the same, but now we call them agents. But no, it's an evolution, a new approach, and more. Sorry about that. Customization in Bings. I don't know. I think we can filter a couple of things, but I really don't know. I need to look deeper there how we can do this. Like, yes, probably everything that Copilot Studio is doing there, we can probably do the same, but Robert, I really don't know. I don't know the deeps. That's a good question. I need to learn that because yes, we use more and more Bing to do the grounding. So specific websites and sources makes a lot of sense. Hey, I think we are at the end of everything. Once again, thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy the hacks. See you in Discord. We are going to have some more office hours and talk and more. Hey, have a good day. Goodbye, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Hope you enjoyed today's session. If you aren't registered for the AI Agents Hackathon yet, register now at aka.ms/agentshack and start hacking on the agent of your dreams.
And if you have any questions along the way, just post in our GitHub discussion forum or attend our live office hours in Discord. And of course, make sure that you keep attending the live streams to keep learning about agents.
Once your project is ready, submit it before April 30th at 11:59 p.m. PT to be eligible for our prizes. Thanks for joining.